Crystal light splinters across the room and lands in my eyes like tiny knives. Everything is gold, everything is loud without anyone raising their voice. I sit in the back where the air is colder, where the waiters stop smiling on their way to the kitchen. My mascara stings, salt, finding the cracks. I don't blink. If I blink, it spills, and I won't give them that. Not tonight. My fingers are wrapped around my clutch so hard the metal edge bites my palm. A clean pain. One I can control. Up front, the host's laugh blooms into the microphone. Warm, practiced, expensive. He tips his chin toward me like I'm a punchline he's been saving. And now, he says, drawing it out, our lucky winner, a donation from the small-town shelter. Laughter pops around the tables like champagne corks. I hear a woman near the aisle whisper, not even bothering to hide it. Why is she even here? My sister-in-law turns her head just enough for me to see the curve of her mouth. That pretty, thin smirk. The kind that says she already wrote my ending. Beside her, my husband's hand rests on the back of her chair like it belongs there. Like she belongs there. My throat tightens, that old familiar clamp. Shame, trying to drag me under by the ankles. I swallow it. Hard. It tastes like pennies. The LED screens behind the stage loop their perfect little montage. Smiling faces, clasped hands, slow motion hugs. A family that never exists once the cameras stop. My phone is slick in my hand. I keep it low, hidden by my clutch. One breath in, one breath out. I type a single word. Play. The second my thumb lifts, the screens hiccup. A flicker, like the room itself flinched. Then black. Then white text. Project mirror. The laughter cuts off so fast it feels like the air got sucked out. Even the violin stops mid-note, hanging there like a mistake nobody knows how to fix. My name is Nora, and if you asked anyone in this room who I am, they'd give you a version that makes them look kind. They'd say I'm Elliot's wife. They'd say I'm so brave, in that syrupy way people use when they want to keep you small but feel generous about it. They'd say I got a fresh start, like it was a gift, like it wasn't something that was ripped out of my hands and handed back to me with strings tied around it. The violin starts again, careful, polite notes, like even the music is afraid of making a scene. My heartbeat doesn't match it. My heartbeat is messy. My heartbeat is a fist. I slide my fingers into my pocket and touch the little bracelet tucked there. Plastic beads. A tiny charm shaped like a star. My daughter made it with her tongue poking out in concentration, whispering the colors as she picked them. Pink, blue, yellow. Like she was building a spell. It's warm from my skin. That warmth is the only thing keeping my throat from closing completely. People are staring now, not openly, not staring. They do it with glances that bounce off me and pretend they never landed. Their eyes sweep over my dress, my hands, my mouth like they're checking for cracks. My sister-in-law sits with her shoulders back, chin up, as if the silence is her personal property. My husband's face is smooth. No surprise, no panic, just that calm he wears when he knows the rules of the room were written for him. I stayed quiet for a long time, not because I didn't have words, because every time I opened my mouth, they used it as proof that I was too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too unstable. And when you're a mother and someone is holding the word custody like a blade, when they can pull money out from under your feet and call it protection, you learn how to swallow entire storms without choking. I learned how to smile with my jaw aching. I learned how to apologize for things I didn't do. I learned how to be grateful for air, but tonight isn't me being cruel for entertainment. This isn't revenge as a hobby. This is me dragging a lie into the light because I'm done living inside it. Because I'm done letting them rewrite me until I don't recognize my own reflection. The screens are still frozen on those two words. Project mirror. A stupid little folder name. A small thing, so why does it feel like the whole room is tilting? I taste champagne in the air, sweet, sharp, and it turns my stomach anyway, like my body remembers every time I forced a toast with shaking hands. One word. That's all I sent. And now their perfect night is holding its breath, waiting to find out what that word just unlocked. If you've ever been underestimated in a room full of smiles, stay with me, because this ends in truth, in The screens stay frozen. Project Mirror. Like a held breath. 10 seconds? Maybe 12. Long enough for the host's smile to stiffen at the corners. Long enough for my sister-in-law to blink too fast and pretend she isn't blinking. In that thin slice of silence, my mind does what it always does when I'm cornered. It runs, not away, back. I didn't marry Elliot because he was wealthy. I didn't even marry him because he was dazzling. I married him because, in the beginning, he made me feel safe. Not safe like a locked door, safe like someone finally believed me when I spoke. I used to plan events for a living, real ones, ugly ones, beautiful ones. The kind where the flowers arrive an hour late and the caterer's truck breaks down and someone's grandmother needs a chair that doesn't wobble and you fix it all without anyone ever noticing you were panicking. I was good at it. I liked it too. The sense of order I could build out of chaos. The quiet satisfaction of saving a night. The first time I worked a Halden Foundation gala, I didn't even know it was them until I saw the name printed on the glass donation wall. Halden Foundation. All caps. Backlit like the word itself was holy. They were famous for clean charity. That's what people called it. Spotless, branding, smiling board members, no scandals, no rumors, just tasteful generosity and perfectly photographed empathy. I was backstage with a headset on, hair pinned up, pen between my teeth, and Elliot Halden walked in like he belonged everywhere at once. He didn't look at the room first, he looked at me. Not like I was furniture, like I was the one holding the whole thing together. "You're the planner," he said, like it wasn't a question. I pulled the pen out of my mouth. "I'm the one making sure your keynote speaker doesn't walk into a closet." He laughed. A real laugh. Not the kind people perform when cameras exist. "God, thank you." He stayed near the wings, watching the flow I'd built. He handed a water bottle to a nervous intern. He moved a donor away from the stage when the lights were about to shift. He noticed things. When the night ended, he found me again. "You saved us," he said. I remember the warmth in my chest. I remember thinking, finally, someone sees me. I didn't know then that being seen by a Halden meant being collected. Vivian came later. Vivian Halden, his older sister, sweeping in with a room already arranged around her ego. She was the kind of woman who didn't walk. She arrived. Glossy hair, glossy lips, glossy life. She hugged me like we were friends and then introduced me to someone as the adorable little event girl. Adorable little event girl. My stomach tightened even then, but Elliot's hand found the small of my back, steady and warm, and I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself I was too sensitive. That was the first lesson. If I reacted, I would be the problem. Lenora Halden was the last one I met. Elliot's mother, she didn't waste words. She didn't waste smiles. She had eyes like polished stone, cool, reflective, impossible to read unless you had years of practice. At our first family dinner, she asked me one question. "What do you do, Nora?" I told her I planned events. She nodded once like she'd filed it away. Not because she respected it, because she'd categorized me. Useful, temporary, replaceable. After Elliot and I married, people started saying I'd moved up, like I'd climbed out of something filthy and into something clean. They didn't say it to my face, not directly. They said it with compliments that had teeth. "You're so lucky. He chose you. Isn't he generous?" Vivian loved those words. She'd tilt her head and smile and say, "Elliot has such a big heart. He just wants to help people." Help. Like I was a project, like I was the stray he brought home. The first time she called me a rescue project was at a fundraiser brunch. I was holding a plate of tiny pastries, trying not to spill, trying to breathe through the crowd. Vivian tapped her glass with a fork. "Everyone," she sang, "I want you to meet Nora, Elliot's favorite success story, our little rescue project." Laughter. Polite, bubbly, cruel. My cheeks burned. I looked at Elliot. He didn't correct her. He kissed my forehead. "Don't mind her," he murmured like I was a child with scraped knees. "She's just joking." My throat filled with heat. The words I wanted to say pressed against my teeth like they could crack them. But I smiled. Because the room was watching. Because the Halden Foundation doesn't do mess. And I wanted to belong. God, I wanted to belong so badly it made me stupid. Then I got pregnant, and everything that had been a soft edge turned sharp. Elliot became efficient. That's the word. Efficient with time. Efficient with decisions. Efficient with my life. "Let me handle the accounts," he said one night, sitting beside me on the couch as I tried to eat crackers through the nausea. "Just for simplicity. You're tired. You don't need stress." His voice was gentle. His hand rested on my knee. I nodded because I was exhausted, because the baby in my body felt like a small animal clawing for space, because I trusted my husband. One account became two. Two became everything. At first it was small things. I'd go to pay for groceries and my card would decline. Elliot would laugh it off like it was a glitch, like it was funny. "Oops," he'd say, tapping his phone. "Fixed." Then it was my email. He updated security. Then my phone plan. "Better deal," he said. Then my old clients started emailing and getting no reply, because my inbox had been cleaned up for me. I didn't notice the cage being built because it was lined with velvet. After my daughter was born, I stopped sleeping. Not the normal new mom tired, something deeper. A constant hum of fear under my skin. Fear of failing her, fear of not being enough, fear of losing myself completely. Elliot watched me with that calm face and said, "You're overwhelmed." Like a diagnosis, like a verdict. And when I cried, once, quietly, in the bathroom with the shower running, Vivian texted Elliot a single line that I saw later by accident when his phone lit up on the counter. "She's spiraling again. Again." I didn't even know there had been a first time in their minds. The humiliation became a pattern, a rhythm. At every event, at every dinner, I was introduced as something fragile Elliot had rescued from a lesser life. "Isn't she sweet?" Such a humble background. "You must be so grateful, Nora." Grateful. My favorite word to choke on. I learned to keep my face soft. I learned to laugh at myself before they could laugh at me. I learned to speak in short sentences that couldn't be twisted. I learned how to disappear while still standing in the room. And all the while, the Halden Foundation kept shining, spotless, perfect, like a diamond cut from other people's silence. Then came the envelope. It happened on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays are when my daughter's daycare sends photos, and I'd been staring at one of her, finger paint on her cheek, grin wide, eyes bright, when Elliot came home early. He tossed his briefcase on the kitchen chair. Not where he usually put it. He usually kept it close, like it was part of his body. He kissed my forehead. "Long day," he said. I smelled cologne and something metallic underneath it, like cold coins. He went upstairs to shower, and I don't know what made me do it. Maybe it was the way he didn't meet my eyes. Maybe it was the way my skin had started to feel like it didn't fit right anymore. Maybe it was the way Vivian had been calling more, smiling more, hovering like a vulture pretending to be a dove. I touched the briefcase. The latch clicked open too easily. Inside, tucked in a side pocket like it was meant to be found or meant to be used fast, was a sealed envelope, no return address. Just 3 words typed in crisp black letters. Guardianship contingency. My mouth went dry so fast my tongue stuck to my teeth. I held it like it might burn me, like it might scream. I didn't open it. Not yet. My fingers shook. My heartbeat pounded so hard I could feel it in my ears, in my wrists, in the tender scar where my C-section had healed. Footsteps overhead. Water starting in the shower. I slid the envelope back, closed the latch, smoothed my face. That night, Elliot's phone rang while he was on the patio. I was in the kitchen, rinsing a bottle, hands in warm water, trying to breathe normally. The glass door was half open. His voice floated in, low and controlled. "She can't know yet," he said. Pause. "No. She's still manageable." Another pause. I heard Vivian's laugh on the other end, tinny through the speaker. I couldn't make out the words, but I could hear the tone. Amused, hungry. Elliot spoke again. "We need her to look unstable first, not dramatic, not movie unstable, just unreliable, Emotional, you know how she gets. My hand tightened around the bottle until it squeaked. He kept talking. The gala is perfect. Everyone will be there. Board members, donors, press. She won't risk a scene. Vivian said something that made him chuckle. He added, softer, and once Lenora signs off, it's done. The narrative is set. Narrative. Like my life was a press release. My stomach turned. Bile climbed my throat, hot and bitter. I swallowed it back and tasted acid. I stood there in the kitchen with my hands dripping, staring at my reflection in the dark window. Unreliable, emotional, unstable, words that could take my daughter from me if enough important people nodded along. A memory hit me like a slap. Lenora, at dinner, dabbing her mouth with a napkin, saying, "A mother's first duty is stability." She'd looked straight at me when she said it. I thought it was advice. It was a warning. Now I'm back in the ballroom, 10 minutes later in my own head, and the silence around Project Mirror feels like a door that finally cracked open. My palms sweat against the clutch. My breath is shallow. I can feel Elliot's eyes on me. I can feel Vivian's smile thinning as she tries to decide whether to look worried or insulted. The host clears his throat into the microphone, too loud in the quiet. Technical. His voice wobbles. Good. In the front row, Lenora sits like a statue, back straight, hands folded, face composed. But her gaze flicks to the screens with something sharper than curiosity. Calculation. Measurement. The gala isn't just a fundraiser. It never was. It's a stage, a spotlight. And I finally understand why they insisted I come, why Elliot picked the dress, why Vivian called my mother, why the host had that line ready like a joke everyone had rehearsed. They were going to unveil a new face of the foundation, a cleaner one, a calmer one, someone who wouldn't embarrass them by being human, someone who would smile on cue and never ask where the money went. And the realization settles in my gut like a stone. They weren't just mocking me, they were replacing me. Tonight, in front of everyone who matters to them, my phone vibrates in my hand, one small buzz like a heartbeat that isn't mine. A message preview flashes from a name I haven't seen in years. J. 2 words. Ready when? My pulse kicks. The room leans forward without knowing it, and somewhere inside me, beneath the fear, beneath the old training to be quiet, something hardens into shape. Not rage, not yet. Decision. Because if they wanted a story, fine, but I'm done being the character they control. I lift my eyes to the screens. Project Mirror stares back, and I wait for the next moment to break them. The night of the gala starts hours earlier in my bedroom with Elliot standing in the doorway like a judge pretending to be a husband. He doesn't raise his voice. He never needs to. He holds up the dress, pale blue, floating fabric, a neckline that says, "I won't make trouble," and his eyes slide over me like he's already picturing the photos. "This one," he says. I'm in leggings and an old t-shirt with a stain near the hem. I smell like baby shampoo and leftover coffee. My hair is still damp from a rush shower. My body aches in those quiet places that don't show, the places that carried and delivered and never fully bounced back, no matter how many people told me I looked great. I was going to wear the black one, I say. Elliot's smile appears, soft, gentle, weaponized. Black is strong, he says, like it's a flaw. This is better. Softer. Softer, like I'm a lighting choice. He steps closer and smooths the dress between his fingers. The fabric whispers. Harmless, he adds, still smiling. Grateful. My stomach drops so hard it's like the floor shifts under me. Grateful for what, exactly? For being mocked in public with a smile? For having my bank card accidentally stop working? For needing permission to buy my daughter's shoes? My lips part, but nothing comes out. I can feel the words crowding up, hot, desperate, sharp, but the memory of that envelope flashes in my mind like a warning light. Guardianship contingency. A threat sealed in paper. Elliot watches my face the way people watch a dog they're trying to train. He waits for compliance. I nod. Because my daughter is asleep down the hall cell. Because her tiny breath is the only real thing in this house. Because I know what happens when I push. Elliot kisses my forehead like he's proud of me for being manageable. Then he leaves, already tapping on his phone, already moving on to the next part of the night. When he's gone, I sit on the edge of the bed and press my fingers into my thighs until the pressure turns pain into something cleaner. I breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth, slow, like I can trick my body into calm if I count right. My phone buzzes. Vivian. "Can't wait to see you tonight," she texts. "We have a surprise that'll be so healing for everyone." Healing. I can almost hear her voice dripping honey over broken glass. My thumb hovers over the screen. I don't answer. If I answer, she wins something. If I don't, she'll punish me later. The hours crawl. Elliot moves around the house with brisk efficiency. Calls, emails, cologne, cufflinks. The curated performance of a man who lives for an audience. He doesn't look at our daughter for more than a second. He pats her head like she's a prop, like she's proof of stability, not a person. In the car, he checks his reflection in the window and says, "Tonight matters." The city lights slide over his face in stripes, bright, then dark, bright, then dark, like bars. "Don't make it hard," he says, still not raising his voice. My hands are folded in my lap so tightly my fingernails leave half-moon marks in my skin. "I won't," I whisper, and I hate myself for it. The hate is immediate and sharp, like biting down on tinfoil. At the venue entrance, the air smells like roses and money, the kind of money that never apologizes. Staff glide around in black suits, their smiles practiced, their eyes careful. I know this world. I used to run it from the shadows. Vivian meets us at the doors with a kiss cheek gesture that never touches skin. "Nora," she sings, "you look precious." Precious. Another small word that means small. Her gaze drifts over me, lingering on the dress Elliot chose, and something satisfied flits through her expression. Good girl. Then she loops her arm through mine like we're close, like we aren't enemies who share a last name. "I'm so glad you came," she says, loud enough for 2 donors nearby to hear. "I know crowds can be a lot for you." I feel my throat tighten. I can practically see the story forming in their heads. Fragile wife, big-hearted family, so supportive. Elliot's hand settles between my shoulder blades, guiding me forward. Not a touch, a steering wheel. We walk into the ballroom, and the music hits. Strings and piano, polished and bright. The lights are warm. The screens behind the stage loop footage of the Halden family, smiling, shaking hands, hugging children for cameras, their kindness edited into perfection. I catch my reflection in a mirrored column, pale blue dress, calm face, eyes too dark, like a doll someone sat on a shelf. Vivian leads us toward the front where Lenora is already seated, posture rigid, expression composed. She nods at me like I'm an employee, like I'm a line item. "Nora," she says, just my name, no warmth. Then Vivian's fingers tighten around my arm. "There she is," Vivian says, and her voice lifts, theatrical. "Our surprise." My stomach goes cold. I turn, and there, standing just inside the ballroom doors like she's not sure she's allowed to breathe, is my mother, my estranged mother. Her hair is pulled back too tight. Her coat looks too thin for the season. Her eyes are wide, darting around the room like she's searching for a place to hide. She looks older than I remember, but not in a softened way, in a worn way, a way that makes my chest ache and my jaw lock at the same time. Mom's gaze finds mine and sticks, startled, confused, vulnerable, and Vivian beams as if she'd just delivered a miracle. "Family healing," Vivian announces, turning slightly so nearby tables can hear. "Isn't that what tonight is about?" My mother steps closer, hands twisting in front of her. "Nora," she says, hesitant, like my name might break something. They said you wanted me here." My mouth opens. Nothing comes out at first. My tongue feels thick. "I didn't," I manage. Elliot's fingers press harder into my back, a silent warning. My mother's face crumples for a second, then firms up like she's deciding not to be embarrassed in front of strangers. Vivian leans in, smiling, whispering for me, but loud enough for Mom to hear. We thought it would be good for you, she says. Closure, growth. People love a redemption arc. Redemption arc. My vision blurs at the edges. I blink hard and force it back into focus. My mother doesn't understand what's happening. She's never understood, but she knows she's being handled. She can feel it in the air like static. I'm just here, she says quickly, almost pleading. I'm just here to support you. Support me. I feel something twist in my gut. Old resentment, old grief, old hunger for a mother who didn't abandon me when I needed her most. Vivian guides my mother toward a seat near the aisle. Not near me. Close enough to be seen. Close enough to be discussed. Like an exhibit. She's so brave, I hear someone murmur as we pass. Reconnecting like that? I want to scream. Instead, I smile. Because the room is watching. Because Elliot is watching. Because my daughter is the invisible hostage in every conversation. A server passes with a tray of champagne flutes, the glasses sweating cold. Vivian takes one and presses it into my hand. Drink, she says. Loosen up. The glass is slick. My fingers tremble just enough that the liquid quivers. I don't drink. I hold it like a prop because that's what I am tonight, a curated symbol. We take our seats. The program begins. A board member talks about impact and integrity, words that feel like stolen jewelry in their mouths. Then the host returns, bright and booming. And now, he says, we're excited to announce our newest initiative, the Halden Women's Grant. Applause swells. My skin prickles. The screen changes to a glossy slide, a photo of a woman holding a child, head bowed, light soft on her face. It's me, not from tonight, from months ago, a candid moment in a park, hair messy, my daughter on my hip, my mouth mid-sentence. The kind of photo you don't choose. The kind someone takes when you aren't guarding yourself. My breath catches so hard it hurts. Text appears beside the photo. Nora's redemption story. My ears ring. The host's voice floats over the applause. A story of resilience, of overcoming, of second chances. My hands go numb around the champagne stem. I can feel Elliot's gaze on my profile. I can feel Vivian's satisfaction like heat on my skin. I can feel my mother's confusion from across the aisle, her eyes flicking between the screen and me, trying to understand why my face looks like I've been slapped. They're using me, my hardship, my pain, my private life turned into marketing, without asking, without telling me. The host continues. Tonight we honor Nora Halden. Honor, I want to laugh. The sound rises in my throat and dies there, strangled by fury. Elliot leans close, lips barely moving, smile still on. Don't, he whispers. My eyes sting again. Mascara burns like salt. Don't what? I whisper back, but it's already too late. My voice has an edge. His smile widens, still charming for anyone watching. If you embarrass us, he says softly, you embarrass your daughter. The words slide into my ribs and lodge there. My lungs stop for half a beat. He's not threatening me with anger. He's threatening me with loss. I stare at the screen, at my face, softened and edited into a symbol. My fingers dig into the bracelet in my pocket. The beads bite my skin. Pink, blue, yellow, my daughter's tiny hands. Her trust. The applause fades into the next segment. People chatter, chairs scrape, servers move, a donor leans across to another and says something about inspiring. Behind the music, I start noticing little things. The brochure on the table lists a donation total from last quarter. I've seen those numbers before. I used to build these decks. The math in my head corrects it automatically. It doesn't add up, not by a little. By enough to make my stomach flip. At the next table, 2 vendors whisper near the edge of the dance floor. I catch fragments as they pass. Still haven't been paid. It keeps saying it's processing. Under her name. Under her name. My scalp tingles. I shift in my chair and look around. The room looks the same. Glittering. Perfect, but suddenly it feels like a set built on rotten boards. A shadow slips into the aisle beside me. A hand brushes my chair as if by accident. A folded napkin drops onto my lap. I glance down. Inside the napkin, a note. 3 lines, written fast. Your old vendor account is still active. Someone's billing under your name. Check your archive. My pulse jumps so hard my vision sparks. I don't look up right away. I keep my face neutral. I keep breathing shallow. I let the napkin sit there like nothing. Then I slide it into my clutch. My phone is in my hand again, hidden. My fingers move with the calm precision of muscle memory, event planner brain switching on like a light. I open my email. I scroll to the hidden folder Elliot once told me was junk. I click, and there it is, a thread I didn't start. Invoices, NDAs, a media kit. The title sits on my screen like a slap. Nora's redemption story, much press materials. My stomach drops. My name is a product. My life is a campaign. I scroll faster, heart pounding, breath too tight. A PDF opens. My signature sits at the bottom, perfectly curved, familiar, mine. Except I didn't sign it. I didn't. I stare until my eyes ache, until my throat burns. Then I see it. Metadata. A timestamp. An edit trail. My signature pasted in. Lifted from another document, dropped into place like a sticker. Cold spreads through my limbs, starting at my fingers, crawling up my arms. They forged me. They built a case. They built a story where I consented, where I agreed, where I thanked them for saving me. My chest tightens so hard it feels like a hand closing around my heart. On stage, the host laughs again. The room laughs with him, unaware. The violin swells, the screens glow. My husband smiles. My sister-in-law glitters. And I sit in the back of my own life, staring at the proof in my hand, realizing the truth isn't just ugly. It's organized. It's documented. It's ready to be used against me. My phone buzzes again. Another message. Jay. Still ready? I lift my eyes toward the stage, toward the screens, toward the perfect Halden family montage, looping like a prayer. My mouth tastes like metal. My hands stop shaking, because now I know. And knowing is its own kind of fire. I type with one thumb, barely moving. Wait. Then, after a beat, I add 2 more words. Not yet. And the cliff edge opens inside me. Wide, dark, inevitable. Because the next thing I do will either save me or finish what they started. The panic doesn't arrive like a scream. It arrives like a hand closing around my throat while everyone keeps clapping. My phone is still open in my lap. The forged signature glows up at me, perfectly curved, perfectly false. My name, my handwriting, used like a key in a lock I never agreed to build. I can't feel my feet. I shift them anyway, pressing the balls of my shoes into the carpet until sensation returns in pins and needles. I need something real, something that proves I'm still here. The room hums with wealth and warmth. Laughter, glass clinks, low music, but my body goes cold from the inside out, a chill that starts behind my ribs and spreads down my arms. Breathe. In. Out. In. My lungs catch. I taste acid again. I close my eyes for half a second, and it's like I'm back in that kitchen, staring at a sealed envelope, listening to Elliot's voice float through a door like poison incense. She's manageable. My eyes snap open. No, not now. Not here. My fingers stop shaking, not because I'm calm, because something in me finally locks into place. The part of my brain that used to run a ballroom like a battlefield. The part that counts tables and timings and exits and fail-safes. Event planner brain. It doesn't care about feelings, it cares about facts. I start counting without meaning to. Stage, 2 stairs, left and right, screens, 3 panels, main LED wall plus 2 side displays, audio, 2 ceiling speakers near the dance floor, 1 sub under the stage, security, 2 guards at the main door, 1 near the donor lounge, service hall, behind the bar. Turn left, then the double doors that stick unless you push with your shoulder. My pulse steadies into a hard rhythm, a metronome, because this is what I know. If the room is a machine, I can learn where it breaks. And still, underneath the counting, there's the other math, the one that hurts. What does it cost me to stay quiet? My identity, already shrinking into a press kit titled Redemption. My finances, already erased behind Elliot's passwords. My voice already turned into a symptom, emotional, unstable, too much. And what does it cost me to speak? Custody, safety, a war where they have lawyers and donors and a mother with ice in her veins. I picture my daughter's face, her cheeks sticky from fruit snacks, her eyes bright and trusting, the way she runs into my legs like I'm home. My throat tightens so hard it aches. If they take her, no, don't go there. I slide my hand into my pocket and wrap my fingers around the bracelet again. Beads bite my skin. A tiny star presses into my fingertip. Anchor. I stand, slow, careful, like I'm just going to the restroom, like I'm not holding a grenade behind my teeth. Elliot's eyes flick up, tracking me immediately. He doesn't move. He doesn't have to. His gaze is enough. I smile, small, soft, harmless, grateful. The performance tastes like blood. I turn away before my face cracks. The hallway outside the ballroom is cooler, quieter. The music becomes a muffled throb behind the doors. My heels click on tile and the sound feels too loud, too exposed. I round the corner toward the service hall, blending with staff traffic the way I used to. Head down, purposeful, invisible by design. A waiter brushes past with a tray and doesn't even look at me. Good. The double doors stick, just like I remembered. I shove with my shoulder and slip through. The service hallway smells like lemon cleaner and heat from the kitchen. Real smells. Honest ones. Not perfume and money. My breath comes easier here. Jay is halfway down the corridor, leaning near a gray door marked AV, Staff Only. He looks the same as years ago. Tired eyes, sharp focus, a lanyard that's seen too much. When he sees me, his jaw tightens, like he's been holding something back for months. "You okay?" he asks, low. The question almost breaks me. My chest tightens, my eyes burn. I nod anyway, a lie, but a functional one. "You got my text," I whisper. Jay glances at the camera above the door, then steps closer so his body blocks us from anyone walking by. "Yeah," he says. One word, bold. My mouth goes dry. "Can you control the screens?" He snorts softly, no humor in it. Not from the stage, not from the booth either. They moved it. My stomach dips. Moved it where? He taps the gray door with 2 fingers. Backroom laptop, password locked. Vivian's guy set it up weeks ago. She didn't want staff errors. Of course she didn't. Vivian doesn't trust anyone who isn't loyal to her. "What's on it?" I ask, though I already know the answer is going to hurt. Jay's eyes flicker. He looks at my face like he's deciding how much truth I can swallow without choking. Then, he says, "More than slides." A cold line runs down my spine. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a folded sheet of paper, creased and smudged, like it's been handled too many times. "I shouldn't have this," he murmurs. "But you used to be. You used to run this place, and he exhales. "I'm tired of watching them do this." He unfolds it and points. It's a list. Names, donors, notes beside each one. Private dinner, confirmed. Board intro, paid. Media shielding, approved. My stomach turns, slow and heavy. "What is this?" I whisper, even though the words are already forming in my head. Jay's voice drops further. Vivian's little circle. She calls it matching. Like it's cute. Donors with problems, donors who need their names polished. They give big. They get access. They get introductions. Sometimes they get favors. My skin crawls. The Halden Foundation. Clean charity. Except it isn't clean. It's soap. It washes. My fingers tighten around the paper. My nails dig into it. "And Elliot?" I ask. The question feels like swallowing glass. Jay hesitates. That hesitation is an answer. "He's not just letting it happen," Jay says quietly. "He designed it. The approvals, the vendor flow, the way payments delay. The way the numbers look right in public and wrong in the back." My throat constricts. I can't breathe for a second. Elliot's calm smile flashes in my mind. His hand on my back, his voice in my ear. "Don't embarrass us." It wasn't a warning, it was a boundary line around their machine. And I've been inside it, turning gears, thinking I was building something good. I grip the edge of a stainless steel counter to steady myself. The metal is cold, grounding. Jay watches me, eyes sharp. "You still know your way around," he says. Backstage, storage, vendor docs. You built the maps? I nod, slowly. My mind is already drawing routes, exits, timings, where cameras are, where they aren't. Because leverage isn't just proof. Leverage is control of the room. My phone feels heavy in my hand. I step away from Jay and tap Mina's name. It rings twice, 3 times. She answers on the 4th, breathless. Nora? Hearing my name in her voice, plain, unedited, almost makes me cry, almost. Mina, I whisper, I need you. A pause. Then her tone shifts, sharp and clean. Are you safe? Right now, I say, not later. I need details, she says. I tell her fast. Choppy, the envelope title, the forged signature, the invoices, the media kit, the donor list, Vivian's circle, Elliot's control. My words tumble out like I'm bleeding information. Mina exhales, long and controlled. Okay, listen. Do not accuse anyone publicly without documentation you can authenticate. Do you have original files? Metadata? Edit trails? Yes, I say, timestamps, archive. Good, she says, screenshots. Forward to a private email not connected to your husband, and, Nora, do not sign anything tonight. Do not let them corner you into a statement. My heart bangs against my ribs. What can I show? I ask. What's clean? Facts, Mina says. Documents. Timelines. No speculation. No labels like fraud unless you have something official. Let the evidence speak. I close my eyes, a hot pulse behind them. If I stay quiet, they pin this on me. Yes, Mina says, and the bluntness steadies me. And if you go too loud, too sloppy, they call you unstable and make you the story. You need to be precise. Precise. That word clicks into me like a lock. I end the call with a promise I don't know if I can keep. I'll be careful. When the line goes dead, I stare at my own reflection in the stainless steel, distorted, stretched, a version of me that doesn't look real. I lift my phone and hit record on a voice message, not to anyone else, to me. My voice comes out low, shaking at first. No more begging, I whisper. My throat hurts around the words. I swallow and try again, firmer. No more begging to be treated like a person. I stop recording. My hands are steady now. Jay watches me like he's seeing someone wake up. My phone buzzes. A text from Mina. 5 words that slam into my chest and stay there. If your name is on those invoices, they can pin it on you. Tonight is your deadline. My breath goes shallow. Deadline. The word tastes like a closing door. Somewhere behind me, through walls and chandeliers and curated laughter, the gala continues. The Halden family smiles. The perfect night keeps spinning. But I can feel it now, the crack in the floor beneath the stage. I look at Jay. He tilts his head toward the AV door. You want in? My pulse jumps. I think of Elliot's threat. I think of my daughter's bracelet. I think of my signature pasted like a crime. I nod once. Yes, I whisper. And the word feels like stepping off a ledge on purpose. The AV door opens on a room that smells like warm plastic and dust and like machines that never sleep. The sound is different in here. No music, no laughter, just a low electrical hum that makes my teeth feel too big for my mouth. A laptop sits on a folding table. Cables run from it like veins into the walls. Jay shuts the door behind us, fast, and the click is a kind of promise. Okay, he murmurs. We've got minutes, not hours. My hands hover over the table. For a second, I don't touch anything. I'm scared of leaving fingerprints on a future accusation. Scared of being the easiest person to blame. Mina's voice echoes in my head. Facts, timestamps, no speculation. I pull a napkin from my clutch and wrap it around my fingers like a makeshift glove. My throat tightens at how ridiculous it feels and how necessary. Jay watches me, then nods once, approving. Smart. He taps the trackpad and the screen wakes. A playlist, a schedule, file names that look harmless if you don't know what they're hiding. I see it. Project Mirror, nested inside other folders with names like Sponsor Reel and Honoree Montage. A hiding place inside plain sight. My stomach flips. Can you set it so I trigger it? I whisper. Jay's fingers move fast. Yeah, we can make a hotkey, or... He pauses, glancing at my phone. We can set it to listen for a message, a single word. The word sits between us like a blade. Play. I nod and my pulse kicks harder. One word only, he builds it quickly. A scheduled playback tied to a cue. A delay that buys me enough time to put myself where I need to be when it hits. Once it starts, he says, voice low, it runs. Unless someone pulls power. A cold calm settles into my chest. Then we make sure they can't. I don't know who I am as I say it. I just know it's true. Jay flicks to a settings page. You text me the word, I hit confirm, and the next time the stage feed swaps, boom. My mouth goes dry. How long do I have once it's armed? He checks the clock. 20 minutes if we tie it to the honoree segment. Honoree segment, my name, my face, my redemption. I feel heat rise behind my eyes, and for a second it's grief. Raw, humiliating grief that my life became their story without my permission. Then, it burns off into something sharper. Do it, I say. He looks at me. Nora, if we do this, they'll come for you. I think of my daughter asleep in her bed, the way she curls her fingers around mine like she's anchoring herself to me. I think of Elliot's whisper, embarrass us, embarrass your daughter. My jaw locks. They already did, I whisper. This just makes it visible. Jay nods and hits confirm. Something in the laptop pings softly, like a tiny bell. Armed. My skin prickles. Step 1 is done. Now I need proof. Not feelings, not suspicions. Proof bundles. I can see them in my head like labeled binders. Bundle 1. Vendor payment logs. Missing funds, approval chain. Bundle 2. Email edits. Vivian forging me. Bundle 3. Elliot's threat. Custody used like a leash. I back out of the AV room and slip into the hallway, Jay behind me, both of us moving like we belong. Because I do. I built this world once. I know where the cameras are. I know where the blind corners are. I know which staff door squeaks and which one doesn't. The ballroom is a few corridors away, but the noise reaches us in waves, applause swelling, dying, swelling again. The gala keeps breathing. The lie keeps living. We split near a service junction. Jay back to the AV booth route, me toward the vendor office area. If anyone sees us together, it becomes a story, and stories are their weapon. My heels click faster. I hate the sound. It feels like announcing myself. In the vendor corridor, a door marked Accounts, Vendor Relations sits half shut. I push it gently with my shoulder. Inside, the air is stale, paper heavy. A copier hums. A filing cabinet stands open like someone left in a hurry. A young woman sits at a desk, headset on, eyes tired. She looks up, startled. Can I help? I smile the way I used to when I needed cooperation fast, calm, professional, like I'm on the same team. I'm Nora Halden, I say softly. I need the vendor payment log for tonight's event, now. Her eyes widen. She glances toward the hallway, then back at me. Those are handled upstairs, she says. By who? I keep my voice gentle. The gentler it is, the more it makes room for fear. Vivian? Her throat bobs. I take a breath. Listen to me. This is a compliance issue. If something is wrong, it will land on whoever touched the paper last. I'm trying to keep people safe. My own words taste strange. Safe. Like I can still protect anyone. She hesitates, then swivels her monitor toward me. I can print a summary, she whispers, but it'll show approvals. Perfect, I say, and my pulse jumps. Print it. The printer whirs, spitting out pages that smell hot and sharp. I scan the first one. Amounts, dates, vendor names I recognize. Catering, lighting, floral, paid, late, and then canceled, my heart stutters. Approval chain. Elliot Halden. My throat tightens so hard it aches. The money didn't vanish by accident. It was rerouted by design. I take photos with my phone. Close shots that capture the page numbers, the timestamp in the system corner, the approvals. Evidence that can't be waved away as misunderstanding when the metadata is right there. Bundle 1. My hands are steady, but my stomach churns like it's trying to empty itself of my life. I tuck the pages into my clutch like they're fragile glass. Thank you, I whisper to the woman, and I mean it. Her eyes look like mine used to, tired, cautious, still hoping the powerful are decent. I leave before she can change her mind. Next, email edits. I step into a quiet alcove near a staff staircase and open my phone again, scrolling through the hidden archive folder like I'm dragging my own skin open, thread after thread, subject lines that make my teeth clench. Consent and release. Nora Halden. Press approval. Final. Grant narrative. Confirmed. I open the media kit, I find the edit trail, I take screenshots that show the timestamps, the user account that made the changes. Vivian's assistant login, Vivian's office IP. My signature file inserted. I feel a surge of nausea. It's not just that she forged me, it's that she did it casually, like borrowing a lipstick, like taking something that belonged to me, never even registered as theft. Bundle 2. My phone buzzes. An incoming call. Elliot. My whole body tightens. I let it ring once, twice. My thumb hovers. If I ignore him, he'll come find me. If I answer, I'll have to make my voice soft again. I answer. Nora, he says, calm as ever. Where are you? In the restroom. I lie smoothly, the words sliding out like I've practiced them for years, because I have. A pause. Vivian says she saw you with staff. My pulse spikes. I needed air, I say. Another pause, longer. I can hear the ballroom behind him. Muffled laughter, glass clinks like he's calling from inside the lie. You don't need air, he says softly. You need to sit down and behave. My fingers go cold around the phone. Elliot. My voice cracks on his name, and I hate that it still can. He cuts in, still gentle. Not tonight. My breath catches. Then he adds, in the same calm tone, remember what we discussed. If you make this difficult, you make it difficult for her. Her. He doesn't even say our daughter's name, like the name itself is too intimate for a threat. My stomach flips, bile rising hot. I swallow hard and taste bitterness. Are you threatening me? I whisper, because the words need to exist out loud to become real. He exhales like I'm tiring him. I'm reminding you of reality. A tiny sound comes from my throat, half laugh, half sob, but I crush it before it escapes. I force my voice smooth. I'll be right back, I say. Good, he replies. And Nora? Yes. His voice drops, intimate, sharp. Don't embarrass me. The call ends, my hand shakes once, one tremor, then stills. Because now I have it, his threat, fresh, recorded in my brain with perfect clarity. But clarity isn't proof. Proof is sound. Bundle 3 needs sound. I step into a quieter stairwell where the music is nothing but a distant pulse and hit voicemail. His last message from earlier in the day is still there, because he always leaves them. He always thinks his tone is safe because it's calm. I play it. His voice fills my ear. Nora, don't start anything tonight. You know what happens when you get emotional. Think about how a judge hears that. Think about our daughter. My skin goes cold. I screen record it. I save it. I back it up to a private address Mina set up months ago. Just in case. Just in case. She knew. My throat aches with the urge to cry, but my eyes stay dry. Tears feel too slow for what I'm doing. I step back into the hallway and almost collide with Vivian. She's there like she materialized from perfume and malice, her smile bright and brittle. Nora, she chirps, there you are. My stomach tightens, my shoulders lock. Vivian's gaze flicks over my face, my clutch, my phone. Her smile doesn't change, but her eyes sharpen like she's tasting something off. And Jay, she adds, turning her head slightly. I glance past her. Jay is walking down the hallway, trying to look casual, but Vivian's attention lands on him like a net. Her smile widens. What are you doing back here? This area is staff only. Security is really strict tonight. Jay's jaw tightens. He keeps his voice even. I'm assigned. Vivian laughs lightly. Assigned by who? Because I don't recall authorizing. She lifts her hand, already signaling for security at the end of the hall. A guard's head turns. My heart pounds, but my face stays smooth. The only way to survive Vivian is to never look like you're fighting. Vivian? I say softly, stepping between her and Jay like it's accidental. Stop, her eyebrows lift. Excuse me? I need Jay, I say, still soft, still harmless. For the honoree segment, technical issue, it's a brand risk. Brand risk. The phrase lands like a spell. Vivian's expression changes by half a degree. Interest, irritation, caution. Brand risk? She repeats, voice silk. I nod once. Yes, and if you want to handle it publicly, we can, but I assumed you'd prefer not to. Vivian's eyes narrow, her lips part as if to snap back. Then she hears it, the way my voice didn't shake, the way I didn't apologize, the way I said we can, like I have choices. Her gaze flicks to the guard again. She lowers her hand. Fine, she says, but the sweetness curdles. Just don't wander, people talk. I smile, I know. She walks away, heels clicking like punctuation. Jay exhales slowly. Nice, he murmurs. My hands are sweating inside my clutch. Now comes the part that scares me, more than Vivian. Lenora. Because Lenora doesn't lash out. Lenora doesn't perform cruelty. Lenora simply decides what the truth will be, and then she makes reality match. I find her near the donor lounge, seated with 2 board members. She looks serene, composed, as if nothing in the world has ever surprised her. I approach with measured steps, heart beating hard but controlled. Lenora, I say quietly. Her eyes lift to me, cool, heavy. Nora, she replies. You should be at your table. I swallow. I need a moment of your time, private. One of the board members frowns. Is everything... It's a brand risk, I say before my voice can falter. Now. Lenora's gaze sharpens. She stands slowly, smoothing her dress with a hand that never shakes. Excuse us, she tells the board members. Not a request, a command. She walks with me into a smaller side lounge. Dim lights, soft couches, the sound of the gala muffled behind thick doors. Here, the air smells like leather and expensive candles. Lenora turns to face me. What have you done? She asks, calm as ice. The question is a slap. I swallow hard and lift my chin. I haven't done anything, I say. Yet. Her eyes flick toward my clutch. Then why are you trembling? I realize my fingers are tight enough to hurt. I loosen them. I have documentation, I say, voice steady. Vendor logs, email edits, approvals, a narrative campaign using my life without consent, forged signatures. Lenora's expression doesn't change, but something in her eyes does. Not surprise, recognition. My stomach twists. You already knew something was wrong. Lenora's lips press together. Donations have been dipping, she says flatly, quietly, and our vendor relationships have frayed. She pauses. Someone inside has been siphoning trust. Trust? That's her currency, not money. She studies me like I'm a variable in an equation. And you think it's Vivian, she says. And Elliot, I reply, and my voice barely trembles around his name. Lenora's gaze holds mine. The room feels smaller. I take a breath. My next words decide everything. I'm not here to beg, I say. I'm here to give you a choice. Her eyebrows lift slightly. A choice? I nod. Stop the stage show. Pull the honoree segment. Handle this privately now, before the screens speak. Lenora's eyes narrow, sharp. The screens? My pulse pounds. I have a scheduled playback, I say. In 20 minutes. If you do nothing, it plays. Lenora's face stays calm, but I see the smallest tightening at her jaw, the first crack in her composure. Do you understand what you're threatening? She asks. I feel my daughter's bracelet against my palm through the fabric of my pocket. I hold on to the pain of the beads. I understand what they've been doing to me, I whisper, and what they plan to do next. Lenora steps closer, voice low. If you humiliate this family, you humiliate your child. The words are so similar to Elliot's that my stomach lurches. I meet her gaze, steady. If you let them frame me, you destroy her mother. Silence. Then Lenora's phone buzzes. She glances at the screen. Elliot. She doesn't answer. She looks back at me, eyes colder now. Where is he? She asks. Asleep in public, I say, and it's the first time I've ever allowed contempt into my voice in front of her. Lenora studies me a beat longer, then says, "Come." We exit the lounge. And as if he sensed her movement like a predator senses another predator, Elliot appears at the end of the hallway, walking toward us with that same polished smile. His eyes land on me first, then his mother. Then his smile tightens. "Nora," he says warmly. "There you are." He turns to Lenora. "Mother." Lenora doesn't return the warmth. "What is this?" she asks. Elliot's gaze flicks to me, warning. I'm not sure what she's upset about. She's been overwhelmed. Overwhelmed, the old word, the leash. He steps closer, voice gentle, meant for me alone. "You're being ungrateful," he murmurs, "after everything we gave you." My chest tightens with old shame, the reflex to shrink, to apologize for existing. I feel it rise, and then I feel it die. Because I've seen the invoices, I've seen the edits, I've heard his threats with my own ears. I lift my chin, my voice comes out calm, almost quiet. "You taught me to be quiet," I say. "You didn't teach me to be blind." Elliot stills. For the first time, his face doesn't know what expression to wear. Lenora's eyes flicker. Interest, maybe. Calculation. Behind us, the ballroom doors open. Music swells. The host's voice booms, bright and confident, bleeding into the corridor like a spotlight searching. And now, our special presentation honoring the woman behind our mission. My stomach drops. A heartbeat later, my name appears on the hallway's small monitor feed. Big white letters over a soft focus photo of me holding my daughter. Nora Halden. My skin goes cold. 20 minutes just became now. And somewhere, deep in the building, a laptop is waiting for my one word. My name blooms across the monitor in the hallway. Big, white, impossible to ignore. Nora Halden. It feels like being grabbed by the chin and forced to look at a version of myself I didn't consent to. The host's voice floats through the doors, bright and warm, and the crowd answers with applause that sounds like rain hitting a roof. Lenora's hand touches my elbow. Not gentle, not comforting, directing. "Go," she says, like she's sending me onto a stage to be judged. "Smile." Elliot stands a few feet away, face polished, eyes sharp. There's a warning in him tucked behind the charm. He looks like a man who believes he can still steer this. Vivian appears at his shoulder, lips curved in a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Her gaze flicks to my clutch like she knows I'm holding something heavy. My mouth is dry, my tongue feels too large. I nod anyway because the doors are opening and the light spills out like heat. The ballroom is brighter than it was from the back. The chandeliers hang like glass teeth. The air tastes sweet, champagne and perfume, and underneath it all, something sour. Fear. I step through the doors and the applause swells, hitting me in the chest. People turn in their chairs, faces lift, smiles widen, cameras tilt. I'm the honoree, the rescued project, the little story they can point to and say, "Look what we did." The stage is only a few steps away, but it feels like crossing a field with no cover. The host meets me near the stairs, grinning. He offers his hand like I'm lucky to touch it. "Our star," he says, loud enough for the front tables to hear. "Come on up." My heel catches on the edge of the step for a split second, and my stomach drops. A tiny stumble, a tiny crack. I recover before anyone can gasp. I force my face into softness. I climb. The lights hit me, and I can feel the heat on my skin like I'm standing too close to an oven. The microphone is handed into my palm. Cool metal, heavier than it should be. I look out at the room. So many eyes. So many mouths curved into polite expectation. So many people who don't know they're sitting inside a machine. I find my mother in the aisle seat, shoulders hunched, hands twisted tight. She looks terrified and proud at the same time, like she can't decide if she wants to run or cry. I find Jay near the side wall, half hidden behind a column, face intent. And then I find Elliot. Front table, perfect posture, hands folded, smile ready. Vivian beside him, chin lifted, eyes bright, like she's about to watch fireworks. Lenora sits one seat away from them, expression unreadable. Stone. My heart pounds against my ribs so hard it feels bruising. I lift the mic. My voice comes out steady, shockingly steady, as if my body understands this is the only way I survive. Good evening, I say. The host beams and steps back, giving me the full stage like it's a gift. I inhale slowly. Air tastes like roses and money and my own adrenaline. Thank you, I say, and the word lands soft, safe. To everyone who came tonight, to the donors, to the vendors, to the staff who made this possible. A ripple of approving murmurs. I can feel Elliot relax by a fraction. Vivian's smile deepens. Yes, they think. Good girl. My fingers tighten around the microphone. I let my eyes sweep the room again, not as a victim, but as a planner. I note the exits, the cameras, the faces that matter. Then I pivot, gently, like turning a knife without showing the blade. Tonight, I continue, I want to honor something we don't talk about enough in rooms like this. The applause fades into a hush. The violin music quiets as if the musicians can sense a wrong note coming. Transparency, I say. My voice doesn't shake on the word, but my stomach tightens. My throat burns. Because charity without truth, I add, slow, clear, is theater. A chair squeaks somewhere, a cough, the first signs of discomfort. Vivian tilts her head like she's amused, like she's waiting for me to get emotional and prove her right. Elliot's smile stiffens. Lenora's gaze locks onto me, sharp and still. My phone is in my clutch. My thumb finds it without looking, muscle memory, and the screen lights up against my palm. A message thread with Jay. The cursor blinks like a heartbeat. One word. I can feel my daughter's bracelet in my pocket, warm from my skin, and the memory of Elliot's voice pressing a blade to custody. I swallow. My mouth tastes like metal. I type, play. My thumb lifts. For half a second, nothing happens, and then the screens behind me flicker like the building itself shivers. The glossy montage disappears. Gone are the smiling hugs, the slow-motion handshakes, the soft-focus family. The first slide appears. A plain white background with black text. A timeline. The room inhales as one organism. I don't turn around. I don't need to. I can feel the screens changing in the way the air changes when a lie collapses. I keep my eyes on the crowd. The first line reads, vendor payments, Q3 to present. Numbers follow, dates, amounts, statuses, paid, late, canceled, and then, in smaller text beneath, an approval chain. Elliot Halden, approved. Vivian Halden, reviewed. A murmur spreads through the tables like a spill. People lean forward. Phones that were raised for flattering photos start lowering, not wanting to be seen recording the wrong thing. Chairs scrape. Whispers slice the air. What is this? Is that real? Why would... I lift the mic again, voice calm. These are internal payment logs, I say, with timestamps. The word timestamp lands like a gavel. It's not a feeling, it's a fact. The next slide appears. Press kit, Nora's redemption story. My photo pops up. My park photo. Then a document beside it with tracked changes. A highlighted section shows edits. A user account name. An IP. A time. Vivian's assistant login. Vivian's office. My throat tightens, but I keep speaking. My personal story, I say softly, was packaged and distributed as marketing material without my consent. A collective discomfort ripples. Some people avert their eyes not because they don't believe it, but because believing it makes them complicit for sitting there. Vivian stands so fast her chair legs squeal against the floor. This is, she starts, voice too loud, too sharp. This is outrageous. Her smile is gone. Her face is flushed. She looks at me like I'm a stain she can scrub out by force. I hold the mic steady. The consent forms were forged? Vivian laughs. Too high, too fast. Forged? Nora, please. You're confused. Confused. The word makes my vision narrow. My fingers go cold. But the screens don't care about her tone. The next slide appears. Messages. A thread of texts and emails. Blurred names for privacy, but the content clear. Vivian offering private board access in exchange for major donor commitments. A menu of influence typed like she's ordering food. The room goes very, very quiet. Vivian's mouth opens, but no sound comes out at first. Then it does, and it cracks. Those are... Her voice breaks on the second word. The mask slips. Panic shows through the gloss. Someone in the second row whispers, "Oh my God!" Not like a prayer, like disgust. Elliot stands now too, calm face, but his eyes are sharp, calculating. He moves toward the stage with his hands lifted slightly as if to soothe a skittish animal. "Everyone," he says into the air, projecting without a microphone, confident in his volume. "This is a misunderstanding. Nora has been under stress and..." Under stress, the old phrase. The leash again. My stomach clenches. He's trying to make me the story. I let him speak one more sentence. I let him believe the room will follow him, because it always has. Then, I tilt my head toward the screen, still not looking back, and I nod, once. The next file plays, audio. His voice fills the ballroom, crisp and calm, amplified through the sound system. "Nora, don't start anything tonight. You know what happens when you get emotional. Think about how a judge hears that. Think about our daughter." A sound leaves the crowd, half gasp, half exhale. Elliot freezes. Not theatrically, viscerally, like his blood turned to ice. Vivian's face goes pale in a way makeup can't hide. My hands don't shake. My body is oddly light, like the fear has burned off and left only clean, sharp purpose. Lenora stands slowly. She doesn't look at me first, she looks at Elliot. Then she steps toward the stage with the grace of someone who has never rushed for anything in her life. She takes a microphone from the host, who is now sweating, eyes darting. Lenora lifts the mic close to her mouth. One question. Her voice is quiet, but it cuts through the room like a blade. "Did you use this foundation," she says, each word measured, "to hurt her?" Elliot's mouth opens. Nothing comes out, because what answer exists that doesn't kill him? Donors begin to stand. Not all at once. One here, two there, then a small wave as people decide with their bodies before their minds catch up. A woman at a sponsor table says, loud and shaking, "We need an audit." A man beside her nods. "Immediately." A board member in a navy suit steps forward, face tight. He doesn't touch Elliot. He simply positions himself in front of him like a barrier. "Elliot," the board member says quietly, "step aside." Vivian tries to speak again, but her voice is thin now, frayed at the edges. "You can't. This is Lenora. Tell them." Lenora doesn't look at her. Two more board members approach Vivian, not dragging her, not touching her, but guiding her with the kind of social force that makes movement inevitable. This isn't chaos. This is consequence. This is a room full of wealthy people deciding where to place their disgust. I lift the mic again, throat tight, but voice steady. "I don't want your spotlight," I say, and my words feel like they're scraped from somewhere deep. "I never wanted to be your redemption story." I glance at my mother again. Her hands cover her mouth. Tears shine in her eyes. I look back at the crowd. "I wanted my name removed from documents I didn't sign," I say. "I wanted the truth recorded before you turned me into a warning label." Lenora nods once, sharp. "It will be done," she says into her microphone. "Publicly." Elliot's eyes lock onto mine from across the stage. There's something in them now I've never seen before. Not love, not charm, hatred, quiet and bright. As board members escort him toward the side exit, he leans in as he passes near the edge of the stage, close enough that only I can hear. "You'll regret this," he whispers. His breath smells like champagne and entitlement. For a second, the old Nora flashes, small, apologetic, terrified of consequences. Then she disappears. I lean just slightly toward him, mic still in my hand, my face calm. "I already did," I whisper back, when I stayed silent. And as he's taken away, the ballroom doesn't erupt. It exhales, like a room that held its breath for years and finally remembered how to breathe. The doors close behind me with a soft, expensive thud. Outside, the night hits my face like water. Cool, clean, real. I stand on the stone steps for a second and the tremble finally reaches my hands, like my body waited until it was safe to fall apart. My fingers shake around nothing, empty air, and it isn't fear, not anymore. It's relief. It's my nervous system unclenching after years of being held in place by someone else's smile. I draw in a breath that doesn't taste like champagne or perfume. It tastes like winter, like the city, like pavement after rain. My lungs ache with it. I didn't realize how shallow I'd been breathing inside that room until now. My phone buzzes in my clutch. The sound makes my stomach jump, old reflex, but when I pull it out, it's Mina. A text. Emergency motion filed, judge on call, you're covered tonight. Covered. The word lands heavy and warm in my chest. I stare at it until my eyes sting, not because I'm about to cry, because the part of me that always felt alone doesn't know what to do with the idea of backup. My knees feel loose, like they might fold. I sit on the edge of a low stone planter and press my palm to my thigh, grounding myself with pressure. Inside the building, I can still hear the muffled movement of the gala unraveling. Voices, shoes, confusion. A whole machine trying to decide how to pretend it didn't just expose its own wires. Lenora's voice echoes in my head. Not comforting, not kind, efficient. It will be done. Publicly. She doesn't forgive. She fixes. I can already picture it. An independent audit announced with that ice-calm face. A restitution fund named something tasteful. A statement drafted by lawyers and polished until it shines. The foundation will survive because foundations always do. But the people who used it like a weapon, they won't. I reach into my pocket and pull out my daughter's bracelet. The beads glint faintly under the streetlight. Pink, blue, yellow. The tiny star charm presses into my thumb. My throat tightens so suddenly it feels like a hand. I think of her sleeping, of her soft hair against the pillow, of her little voice saying, "Mama, look, Mama, watch, Mama, stay." I stayed, I whispered to the night like a vow, like an apology, like both. A car passes on the street, headlights washing over me for a moment, bright, then gone like a camera flash that doesn't get to keep me. My hands are still trembling. I let them. For once, I let my body tell the truth. I keep thinking about that one word, play. It wasn't magic. It wasn't revenge for fun. It was permission. Permission to stop performing for people who needed my silence to keep their story clean. Permission to stop making myself smaller so their image could stay big. I spent so long thinking quiet meant peace. That if I just swallowed my feelings, if I just smiled, if I just didn't make waves, my daughter would have stability, safety. But quiet wasn't peace. Quiet was a lid, and underneath it, they built whatever they wanted, using my name, my face, my motherhood, because it was convenient. Staying quiet didn't protect me. It protected them. The air is colder now, or maybe my skin is finally noticing the world again. I wrap my arms around myself, not to hide, just to hold. A laugh bubbles up in my chest. Small, shaky, disbelieving, and I clamp my lips together before it turns into a sob. Not tonight. Tonight I already gave them enough of my voice. I stand slowly and look up at the lit windows of the ballroom. Somewhere behind that glass, people are still talking, still spinning, still deciding what the truth is going to cost them. I don't care. My daughter's bracelet warms in my palm. My phone feels steady in my hand. And if you've ever been mocked in a room that needed your silence, if you've ever felt your throat close around words you had every right to say, comment, play, and please like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs their voice back.